is Olayiwola. You're welcome to Disciple Diaries. How did my journey with God begin? My journey with God began accidentally, actually. I wasn't looking for God. I was chasing a girl. I ended up following her to church because she invited me to church. And I thought to myself, well, that would be a good way to close mark her. And I went to church, and unfortunately, the preacher was on fire that day. And I ended up giving my life to Christ that day. Did I find anything challenging when I got started? If so, what was the most challenging? I found sort of communicating my new identity most challenging, especially to those who had known me for a while. I was this guy who I used to Monday go to club, Tuesday go to club. This is uni for context, right? And I was living with some of my friends at the time, and we're all like guys, we used to do a lot of shenanigans. And then when I gave my life to Christ, communicating that, I wasn't going to a club today, communicating I wasn't going to smoke anymore, communicating I wasn't going to babes like we used to at the time. That was the most difficult part, because it came with its own, you have a new identity, but it's still like on a basic level. You are not yet mature in it. So having peer pressure at the time, was something that I had to navigate. So that was the thing I found the most challenging. How would I describe this life with God so far? I would describe this life with God so far as an adventure. I wouldn't say it's been up and down, but there's been a lot of learnings, especially with things that God protects you from, and maybe you sort of get refused for something, or you get rejected for something, and you're wondering, God, why me, type of thing. And maybe a couple of years down the line, you're like so grateful that you didn't take that path, right? So I would say my life with God has been an adventure. I've seen God show up for me in ways that I wouldn't. It's difficult to explain to someone who is not in my shoe, but it sort of helps you to be grounded in your conviction that God is real. God actually loves us, me, in this case, and it's been I would say great, if I put it that way. Why do I walk with God? I walk with God because He's life, really. I don't think there's life outside of God. I don't think there's meaning outside of God. I don't think you can have any sort of identity outside of God, because I see God as that sort of the center from which everything takes its own sort of meaning from, right? I'm in this space and in this time now, and because I'm here, I can always my space and time is always defined by God. I don't know if that makes any sense in the sense. So I walk with God because yes, He's life, He's the source of all meaning, He's my identity, He's my reward, and it's a call to. I see it as a call to become the best sort of person that you can be, really, because how would a car function properly if you don't sort of refer to the manual, right? Or whatever electronic that you buy. If you don't refer to the manual, you can't sort of get the best out of it. And God, for me, is like that manual, especially when you read His word. And a lot of things that we take for granted, we begin to see why they are like that because of God. So it's not one thing. It's I would say constellation or a number of things. But yeah, I think those are some of the things I can quickly articulate as the reason why I walk with God. What's one of the most important lessons I've learned on my walk with God? One of the most important lessons, I would say, always believe that God has your best interest at heart throughout everything that it seems like you're going through. Again, God has promised us a life of victory. Victory doesn't always mean standing up on the mountain with the conquest or your flag or your pole on the top of the mountain. Sometimes it's staying in a cave, right? And waiting until God says it's time to, come out of the cave, right? And so for a lot of us, we interpret staying in the cave as, not being our best self or being rejected or watching the world pass us by. That's also victory in a different form. And we need to always interpret everything God is doing both the ones we like and both the ones we don't like, as the fact that God has our best intention at heart. I think if we begin to see it that way, then we will find a lot of peace in the things that God is asking us to do. What piece of advice will I give someone watching this who would also like a relationship with God? I'll say be open-minded, in the sense that before we come to the point where we sort of maybe start a relationship with God, we come with all sorts of theories and things that we have known growing up, what we experienced about life, and we come with all of that sort of assumption about God, right? God is supposed to be a certain way. God is supposed to look a certain type. God is supposed to, and a lot of us, we have questions, right? But I'll say, if you want to really have a relationship with God, I think you should be open-minded. Being open-minded means that you give God a chance to actually show himself as God in your life. I bet you that once you are open-minded, God becomes a lot more real, and he's able to sort of, he will start to sort of reach out, to you if you are open-minded. I think that's one of the things that God typically looks out for, is, this person is sort of open-minded, their heart is in the right place, and he's gonna. So I'll say, let me just summarize and say, yeah, be open-minded, and yeah, you'll see God being real if you're open-minded. My name is Olayiwola, and I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ.